We're here. Let's do it.
We are here.
Thank you all who all came to our in person on what was it, Saturday? Saturday.
Yeah,
the
let's
25th.
start this off
Yeah,
with gratitude. We had an in-person event that was spectacular.
it really was.
It was very passionate, informative, funny, heavy, light. It was all those things all at once. And it's always so interesting to see people and how they process and how they think. And wow, if y'all missed it, you missed it.
But you really did miss
You
it.
really did.
It has been a long time since I'd had so much fun that I was actually tired from having fun. I mean, it was so
and you were sitting in
lively.
one spot, but it was just so
It was so lively. It was so much energy.
yes.
You know,
I see that.
people definitely shared, and even the people, you know, because you can share or not share. That's totally your choice.
Yes,
But there were
absolutely.
people that weren't sharing that were, you know, that they really enjoyed it. I mean, I just got that. I know that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking, I'm trying to read the room, I'm trying to read the faces, and the way that people laugh. You know, we had some foot tapping.
Yes, yes.
What I found was just amazing that nobody wanted to stop talking. I literally had to okay, we gotta move on to the next topic.
Right.
One more thing, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the
I was
energy was good.
It really
I
was.
was particularly impressed because, you know, there was a lot of flag planting going on. People made statements, but then they were able to articulate what their viewpoint on it was.
Absolutely.
And the space felt comfortable enough, certainly for me, but for them as well, to say their viewpoints. And, you know, people were very passionate. I learned, I laughed, I grew.
Same. Yes.
I mean, they made really good points where I was sitting back like, well, maybe, you know what? Let me rethink my position here.
It's so interesting. If you have not attended one of our in-person events for whatever reason, and you're able to because you're in the Chicagoland area, please, you have to come.
Come on out.
I'm telling you, you're gonna have a great time. Like Gary said, you don't have to. It's not a chance for you to tell all your business. It's a chance to know that you're not alone in your thoughts. It's a chance for you to learn how the opposite gender thinks and processes, or maybe somebody else, and maybe you got a problem in your head, and you don't have a solution, and somebody else is talking through their stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try that.
Exactly.
So you
Or
need to
at least listen. You know, maybe I can get the courage to try that.
yeah, you gotta come.
Because if you are getting the same results over and over again, listening to somebody else and how they handle a situation could be very worthwhile.
Yeah.
In that same vein, maybe it's me.
Maybe it's me. She's not gonna say
Right.
it. She's like,
it's probably in her contract. The producer's gonna be talking to us like, oh, Kim's not going to say that, okay?
Maybe it's me. What we're talking about is basically, in a nutshell, if you are in relationships, past, present, and they're ending the same way, you have the same problems, you get the same results, could the problem be me? Could it be me? And when I think about it, honestly, I don't care how you do the math, whether your math is good or bad, you're in the equation.
I agree.
And quite probably you're the common denominator of it all. Not saying that you're completely wrong, but it may be something that you're doing that could be the same trigger for that gender.
Right.
And you are getting the same results. We typically attract the same type of people. If you like an alpha male, you're probably going to keep attracting alpha males.
Or entertaining the alpha male.
Right.
Yeah.
Or drawing their energy.
Okay.
True. But I mean, the bottom line is this. If you are attracting and entertaining those types of people, they may act similarly, right? And if you are doing something, if you are the common denominator in that equation, you're probably going to keep getting that same negative result.
So let me tell you guys, when we had the in-person event, our first topic was the
five
mistakes you make in your last relationship. That was a chance for everybody to really talk about accountability and self-reflection. And so one of the things that came up, and I think it was like a reoccurring pattern for people who've been in long-term relationships. And you talked about it, I talked about it, and someone else mentioned it. There was a lot of head nodding. It was that not recognizing red flags, staying too long in relationships, and then you tend to look back and go, this is ridiculous, and sometimes you have to look at yourself like, okay, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this person's just being this person, and I should have known because I saw the signs because they were all there a few years ago. But it's up to me to make a move.
Mhm.
So and this is just one of the many things that was discussed. So I just think after a while you got to stop looking at other people and pointing fingers, and then look within and say, you know what am I doing? What in me? What is in me that
Even if that
that
thing
makes
is
these
nothing.
mistakes? Yeah, that makes these same that has a pattern
Yeah.
of these mistakes.
I agree with that totally. Simply put, I mean, you can give away all your good years making the same mistake. And like I
Yeah,
said, even if that mistake is actually doing nothing, just being still and not
yeah,
moving,
yeah,
it's still the same common denominator. You are
yeah.
never moving, never progressing.
I think anytime you want to change results, you have to look at, that self component of what could I have done different or better.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see a pattern of behavior where it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at what point, as you alluded to earlier, you are the common denominator. At what point do you ask yourself? And that's a tough question
Yeah.
because most people don't do things that they don't think are going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find out that
That's true.
something hasn't worked, and then you also find out that you had a role in it, and I don't care whatever happens, generally you have some amount of culpability in every situation. But to ask the hard question, maybe it's me. Like it was me all along. Maybe it was me.
Mm-hmm.
I think to ask that question, that's a tough ask.
Right,
That's a very tough ask
right.
because we tend to believe in the things that we're doing, and why would we ever question? Could it be me?
Right. I mean, a lot of people tend to feel like they are the victim in the relationship, that they have been the one that was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily their part.
Yeah,
And I mean, I mean, there's percentages that you can assign to being wrong, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are culpable in any kind of way, you are still probably hurting yourself,
mm-hmm.
And
not
in,
just them hurting you.
in order to get better, you have to understand your role in something. You have to understand what you could necessarily do different or better. If you don't want to get better, then you want to. It seems as though you want to continue the cycle of behavior. So until you can, say, and not to say that you're 90% culpable, but if you're 5%, let me remove that culpability out
Mm-hmm.
of it, and let me give that other person a fair chance. Let me give whoever the next person is a great chance at being successful with me.
This, is not only applicable in intimate relationships, but it could also be very applicable in your friendship, in your
I agree.
just overall
Your work
relationships.
relationships,
Yeah.
anything,
Any
yeah.
type of relationship.
If you are that person that is always looking for new friends because you don't have any friends, you do have to say, wait a minute now.
Right.
I am in this
Right.
dumb equation, and I'm the one without friends. And that could be
I agree.
you cut
Totally.
people off. That could be that, you don't give any grace.
Yeah.
That could be you're
You
just too
just
hard to deal with.
or
It could be any of those things.
you
But
just
yeah,
transition from that group of friends. I mean, we all want to think that our friends are for a lifetime. But some people are for a season, some people are for a lifetime, some people are for a reason,
that's true.
and some people are just to get you through till it gets cold. You know,
Here we go.
I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But some people are just, man, the summer of 2005.
They're transient.
You're right. We were running and transactional.
Yeah.
That's it.
When that whatever it was that you were giving them or they were giving you, when that is over, so is the relationship, and that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody is forever.
I agree.
But you don't really think about it in the respect of an intimate relationship because those things come and go, right? Everything is not forever. We know that about that. But when you look at like friendships and childhood friendships and school friendships, and when they go away, that's a bigger picture that you can say, you know what, something is really wrong. But I do know that if you have a lot of relationships and you find yourself having the same argument with different people,
Right.
that that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like
And it's time to self-reflect.
right, like I had the same problem with so and so.
Well, then, right.
Really?
Yeah.
And this was how many years ago? 10. So you haven't grown any.
So I went out on a date with someone a few years back, and it was very interesting as we sat at the table. He talked about for a couple hours ex
Ad nauseam.
ex girlfriends, and
Did you drive?
yeah. So, but after a while, I sat there in disbelief, like, really? He's sitting here. Like one time, one person, okay, but he just kept talking about ex girlfriends, and sometimes it was positive, sometimes it was negative. But I just thought, this is very interesting, and so, but I like him as a person,
Mm-hmm.
so I just thought, well, after a while, I thought I'm gonna call him and say, let's go to dinner. So we did, and or lunch or something, and we went. And I told him, I said, let me tell you what you did wrong. And I had never done that before. And he listened and he was very receptive. And he was like, I can't believe I did that again. I said, so you've been told this before? He was like, I didn't know I was still doing this. He said, one person has told him that. And I was like, well, yeah, you're still doing it. And he just was in disbelief. And his ability to self reflect, I was very happy that he received it so well. But I just wanted to tell him,
This is a turnoff.
yeah, it's a turnoff. So when you're dating other people, because we're not gonna date, but when you're dating other people, be mindful that you don't do this again, because this is gonna ruin it. He was like, so he texted me later, thank you, blah blah blah. He was like, I'm a lame, aren't I? I was like, no. I was thinking, well, but he's not. But he's a really a nice
It's not a
person.
lame, but that was a lame thing to do.
It was a lame thing to do because he's a good person. So,
But open to growth. So that's
very much
yeah.
open to growth. But I liked the fact that he was open to hearing me out, and he remembered that someone else had said it, so he knew it was him. He had the ability to say, yeah, okay, this is me. I gotta stop doing it.
Damn, I'm doing it
Yeah,
again.
I did that again. I was like, yeah.
It's
And
funny.
I ran it down, everything he said. He was like, oh God, I can't believe I said all that.
It's funny that you say that because 90% of the time when you tell someone about themselves, they get defensive.
They do.
It's not me. You tripping. It had. Because I wasn't talking about you. You took it. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I mentioned it. I wasn't even there that long.
Right.
And you ate with the wrong fork. I ain't even trip on that.
You're like, it's just deflection at its finest.
Right.
I was just really trying to get through the meal. I didn't have time to sort out
Right.
what fork, what.
Yeah. He was very, very receptive. And to this day, we're still able to have good conversations because he was receptive, and it's been fine. And because sometimes you misread energy, like, oh, should we date? No, we should not date, but we should be friends.
So he's done for life.
In that
Yeah,
respect,
yeah.
But
With me, yeah.
anybody who's in your life that can receive constructive criticism is, unless something is terribly wrong with them, but they're keepers.
Absolutely.
They're keepers.
He's definitely a keeper.
People who can't receive constructive criticism and do that whole game of deflecting, like
what do you call it? What do narcissists do? What are they?
What, gaslight?
Yes, that whole gaslighting. Oh, that wasn't.
You imagine that, right?
Like you said, the blocks. Right. Like no. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I ain't even
Yeah.
tripped that you ate with the wrong
Those
fork.
those are people that it's really hard to hold space for them in your life,
It is.
because
don't.
it's truly a waste of time, and
It
it's in
is.
vain.
It is.
And I mean, we're old enough to know when someone is literally bullshitting you.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we call it
Yeah.
bullshit. We can call it gaslighting, but
Right.
I don't have energy for that.
I don't either.
Well, the sad part is when a person doesn't even realize that they're doing it. You know, I think that
Do
was.
they not?
I mean, I'm not the spokesman for them or anything, but you know,
I
I can't
You
answer
guys didn't
this
have a
one.
meeting about
I
that?
think it is a learned behavior. So it could, if they've
Ah.
never been challenged on it before, never
Huh.
been called to the carpet, it could very well be that they are ignorant of what they're doing. It could be.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what you did was kind of different and cool because you didn't let it rest there. You know, you were like, hey, you know what? I like you enough not to go out with you again, but
Like on a date, on a
right.
romantic date.
Well,
right?
when you
Yeah.
get yourself together and the next person
Other than me.
I'm gonna need you to not do this.
Right.
But
you cannot have 5 people on a date with us.
but certain people, not even certain people, but people tend not to, be receptive to that because they don't see it. And to
Right.
your question, they don't know that they're doing it. And then when it's brought to their attention, they become so comfortable in that space that it's almost impossible. There's no way that could be true.
Mm.
Especially coming from a person that ate with the wrong fork.
Right.
it's- and you were 3 minutes late. A late person wouldn't know this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that was, I do think that was really cool that you took the time to explain it and break it down. And then you didn't break it down in a way that, made him, those words that I hate: dumb, stupid, and crazy.
Oh yeah. And no, I did not drive. It took me. I decided.
Okay. But she didn't emasculate him either.
I
You know what I
didn't.
mean, she was
No.
definitely constructive in the
I-
criticism.
Not to say, that I would never intentionally
Right.
emasculate. Was it emasculate
Mhm.
someone? I would never do that intentionally. That's not to say that my words wouldn't have that impact. But if I knew that happened, I would immediately apologize because I'm never intentionally trying to hurt someone's feelings. But I had seen him at an event and I felt tension,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like tension, especially when I know that wasn't my intention. To like have that type of relationship with him. I was like, well, I don't want any tension because I don't. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But the other part that you're not saying that, hey, I like you enough as a person that
Yes.
for the next person, I want you to get this right.
Let's
Yeah.
correct this.
You a
That's
good person,
that's
but not
exactly
for
right.
me.
Yes.
But
correct it for her.
right, but I hear that part. That is playing in my head
Yeah.
because it wasn't a corrective to like I'm gonna put you back in your place, but I'm gonna help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Right.
That's friendship.
And,
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of that goes on. A lot of
No.
times, and I mean I'm as guilty of it as anyone. I'll just cut your water. Oh, okay, we go.
Let me ask you both this question.
Mhm.
Have you ever been in a situation from a past relationship and your new relationship is starting to resemble that relationship? Have you ever thought to call the person who you were once in a relationship to ask them, is this something about me? Have you ever thought to do that? I have thought to do that.
I don't think that it's fair to get counseling from my old person about my current or new person.
No, it wasn't about the new, it was really about what we're talking about. Is there something that I'm doing that I put out that rears this result?
I've had the conversation with people, but not when I was not about behavior that resembled in a current relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was me going back 3 or 4 relationships, and I saw that behavior, that pattern of behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, now I can talk about it, or hopefully now we can talk about it. And I've done that, but I would, as a rule, I would try not to because I'm not perfect, that, but I would try not to have that conversation with an old person about a current.
What if a person called you and asked you? Maybe it wasn't you who called them about. maybe someone called you and was like, you know what, I'm flustered, I'm frustrated. This happened when we were together. This is happening now in this relationship. If they just came to you for counsel, would you be would you be open? Would you be honest? Would you try and connect the dots for them?
At this stage in the relation, at this stage in my life, yes.
I
For
would
this
too,
for this reason,
and have.
it's the truth is easier, it's constant. So I'm trying to spread that at all times. I'm trying to also put positivity in it. So I'll point out the things that you did well. That's no secret. Those are the things that you want to hear. The things that you didn't do so well. I'm gonna probably ask you leading questions that lead you to that. I'm not gonna give that advice.
They were just asking for the truth.
It would be the truth.
But I think
They
if
just
you
wouldn't
do
get it from
that,
me.
you have to
Yeah.
be receptive. You have to be open to hearing it,
Like,
not
don't ask if they want to
argumentative.
hear.
Yeah, you can't be argumentative. You have to be open to hearing. Because I've done that. Like, I've asked someone about my whole dating life and
Mhm.
things like that, and they were pretty forthright with me. And I mean, I can't. And sometimes, I hear a lot of negative things about my profession, um, and the
If you aren't
misconceptions.
your profession,
But that doesn't mean. And so when somebody is telling me,
Mhm.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to say that. I'm gonna listen. Because I can't. I'm not going to change my profession, but but I am.
Or
If
their
I'm
view of
asking
you.
you, yeah,
Or their view of your
yeah,
profession.
yeah. I'm gonna listen. So if you ask someone, if somebody comes to you and says, if you go to someone and ask about your situation, there is no arguing, because when somebody comes to me and asks me a question and you want the truth, and then you start arguing with me and start and giving me counters, I'm done. I'm not, because you don't really want to know.
because you made this phone call.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But yeah.
But
Hmm.
but a lot of times in that situation, I'm not gonna say everyone, but there are a lot of people that want affirmation. They're not looking for truth. They want you to reinforce what they already
You
believe.
do have to consider the source and consider the catalyst of the phone call. Why really are they calling?
Hmm.
They really want the truth, or they just really want to? Hell, they may just be trying to get back in a talking space with you.
Or you represent a time in their life or a period where things were working right. So they're going to ask somebody that's looking at or necessarily had experienced the good them.
Mm.
And so they want affirmation that, wasn't I a good girlfriend? Didn't I do everything that you wanted me to do? Didn't we go on vacation? Didn't we travel? Wasn't it fun?
When I considered doing it, I wasn't looking for those things. I really wanted to know. Like,
And
I
again,
don't think it's a bad idea.
I was trying to do a temperature check with myself. Yeah.
I mean, in the times that I've done it, because I certainly have gone back, but it wasn't about something current. It was more closure in my mind of, hey, where did this go wrong, or what do we do better, or blah 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 blah. Not like, what you got on, girl? Where you at? Can you get away for 7 minutes?
See, but that's the thing, though. Now that you bring that up, you do have. You are truly going to somebody who knows you inside and out for true counsel and advice. You would hope that they wouldn't bring in little things like that. Like, well, maybe if
No.
you'd have worn that so and so, this would be. You know what I mean? You would hope
No.
that would be interjected into the conversation.
He's just being
I know, but he might be.
silly Sammy.
He might be a silly Sammy on the phone, right?
Well, I think it's what you're
Yeah.
saying is more common than you realize, because
Which
going back and asking people to give you like truthful guidance on.
No, I've never heard anybody that did it, and I only thought of doing it. I
Yes, you
didn't
have.
actually act on it.
Yes, you have, because I told you that.
I know somebody.
Their
I
name
told you
rhymes
about it.
with.
I told you about it.
Right.
Mhm.
You probably have to try and remind
Yeah.
me next week
Yeah.
after
Off
I
air.
get some rest.
Off air.
Yeah.
Off.
And it went well for the most part, but one woman had commented negatively, and he was not very pleased about it and didn't take it seriously. But yeah, it can work if you contact the right people. When I say the right people, I mean not people that are angry and pissed off, like, yeah, you ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. Your mama ain't shit. Your daddy ain't shit. Your dog ain't shit. You know,
Ugly.
Neighbors.
yeah, right. You know,
You
somebody
see?
who's not just
Yeah.
bitter and angry. So yeah.
I want to ask both of you all a question. You know, when somebody
Did you
is
say your dog and shit?
the dog, we love dogs on the show, by the way. We love
Wait a
dogs.
minute,
in
dog.
But has somebody ever, you know, come to you and they're having that Steve Urkel thing? I don't understand why this keeps happening to me.
No. Oh my gosh. No.
and
I've never
and
had
you
that.
wanted to tell them, maybe it's you.
Well, I did have a friend that did that, but I did understand that what she was doing was, it was a game. At a certain point, I realized I was like, okay, she's just doing this with me because she is looking for, um, I was feeding something that she needed.
Mhm.
And when I realized what that game was, I was like, I'm spending way too much time
And
of my
energy.
life,
Really?
right? And I
What was it that you were
I-
feeling? Like she wanted you to soothe her and
honestly, I
show
think
her
that she
name?
was using me as a running board, like a test run to see how these conversations would go. And then from that data, she would know how to formulate it, and then she'd have her real conversations with whoever she needed to have these with. And then I realized,
You were her therapist.
Yeah.
right, but I wasn't getting paid for any of it,
Right.
right?
Sarah knows is you were feeding her like what to say.
And I was just like, I felt like we had this conversation before. And when people start changing little things about, the details,
Mhm.
I was like, this is not even truthful. Because I know the story. Because you forgot you told me already. I was just, yeah. So when you realize that you're kind of being played a little bit, even in friendships, those are the ones you have to.
Yeah.
If you need me to go and slide on there and get some of them session
I
fees recouped, I'm all in.
got a list. No, it's good though.
But no, I mean, accountability is so important.
It is important.
And especially for people in our age group, because everybody is kind of looking at for different results at something.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to make it my first move in anything is, let me do a self-assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know anybody who has no ability to self-reflect, or almost on a scale from 1 to 10, they're like a 1.5?
I know 1,000 people like that.
Do you? Are
Yeah.
they mostly men?
I mean, it's not gender specific.
Okay. Not that I was. That's not what I was getting at. But I was wondering since you said it. But I know a couple, and are they just a pain to deal with?
Well, they've built all of these constructs that reaffirm what they're thinking or believing, or more importantly, what they're trying to project.
Okay.
So they have these different constructs, and you hear it in different ways, like, yeah, they just wasn't ready for me. They got to get their weight up. Blah 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 blah.
They're intimidated by me.
Yeah, so it's I have 1,000 friends like that, men and women.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly men, but I will say probably about 3 women out of my lifespan that I know who had a very difficult time saying they were
Maybe
wrong.
it's me. Yeah.
Period. I was wrong. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, it just rolls off my mouth because I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't want nobody struggling. And my hands, I'm sorry. Shit. You all right? You okay? Okay. Let's move on. That's how I felt. But if you can't, and if the same things are going to continue to happen, then, I'm sorry really don't matter, right? Because you're really not sorry.
Right.
So I don't want to I'm
unless
sorry
it's
from
changed
people.
behavior.
Or if
unless it accompanies that.
Or if you give me I'm sorry you made me have to do that. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like abusive talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, you guys, we're not gonna drag this out.
All right. Well, is it you?
Let us know in the
Is
comments.
it?
What are your thoughts?
Is it you? Or are you just perfect?
Because we spoiled. We still coming off that, we coming off the
I am so high off of that Saturday. Ooh wee!
Yeah, so.
Oh my gosh!
But the thing that we want you all to know is that this is your show. And this is a part of what we do, talking to each other. And we're gonna have more importantly, we're gonna have more in person. So it's gonna be your chance to talk. But in the meantime, let us know in the comments what you think. Shoot us a DM or something
Leave
about
the
the
comments
show.
because you guys like to call us on the telephone and talk about it. But
Right?
definitely leave
Leave
it
the comments.
in the comments. It's helpful for us. We get to go back, we get to review it, and it's good for our algorithm. So
Yes. My
Thank you.
goodness.
how about that? You all know how
Thank you.
social media works. All right.
You rock my world, you know you did.
Get it out your system.
No.
I'm
All
not
Come on,
right.
little
sure.
dancers,
I'm
get
sitting
it
over
out.
quiet. I'm
We will
quiet,
not be here
quiet.
next Tuesday
Before somebody makes a meme of you at
on
the
the,
show,
on the 5th.
moonwalking across
All right.
the screen.
We will not be here on the 5th.
No,
But,
it won't be.
So we'll catch you after that. So you guys have a good rest of the month and we will see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
with our whole heart. Oh, girl, let me move out your way. Let me move out the way.
That's all I'm gonna do with the finish. I'm not doing nothing else.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time.